We've really hit a point where the speed of AI development isn't just fast. It's dizzying.
Yeah.
It's generating these staggering new realities almost daily.
It really is. The pace is hard to keep up with.
And just to grab your attention right away, let's kick off with one detail from the research we synthesized that, it just floored me.
Okay.
There is now an AI app that can diagnose complex respiratory conditions. We're talking tuberculosis, asthma in 15 seconds.
15 seconds.
Yeah, just from a cough recorded on a smartphone.
That speed, that kind of radical efficiency, it really defines this whole moment. And that's what this deep dive is all about, synthesizing this, this intense global wave of AI innovation. Right. We've processed a ton of industry and research reports covering the absolute cutting edge. So from the giant large language models to these powerful new developer tools.
And of course, the real world consequences, which are often massive and sometimes pretty dangerous.
Exactly.
So our mission for you today is pretty simple. We want to give you a clear, structured view of this whole hyper-fast landscape. We're trying to cut through the noise. We want you to understand what's real, what's coming next, and maybe most importantly, where the critical gaps and risks are that you should be watching.
And the information flow, it's genuinely overwhelming. Some of the reports we studied noted that performance benchmarks, the ones that used to define a competitive edge for years, they now expire in a matter of months. So our job is to help you filter that noise, to give you the synthesis so you can focus on what lasts and what really matters.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting with the heavyweight fight at the frontier, the model race.
The competition is just more intense than I've ever seen. What's crucial to understand is that the race has, it's fundamentally shifted. It's not just about raw size anymore.
It's about specialization.
Specialization and this idea of extreme long-range memory or context.
And OpenAI certainly dominated the headlines with the launch of GPT-5.2. They've made these massive leaps, especially in that long context comprehension.
Yeah, that's the big one.
When we talk about a context window, we mean how much info the model can hold in its memory at once, and they're boasting a 400K contact window.
Which is just, it's hard to even conceptualize. That's enough to consume an entire small library and maintain a coherent discussion about all of it.
They claimed top scores on a bunch of reasoning tasks and hit a 70.9% on the GDP-Val benchmark.
And for those who aren't familiar, the GDP-Val benchmark is this sophisticated new metric. It tests the model's economic and professional reasoning. So basically how well it performs as an analytical coworker.
So hitting over 70% suggests it's actually ready for real enterprise work.
It does. It really does.
And the business impact was immediate. The sources show OpenAI sealed a $1 billion 3-year partnership with Disney.
I saw that, licensing over 200 characters for their Sora video tool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's not just a technical win. It's a massive stamp of approval from one of the most protective IP owners on the planet.
For sure. But, that Disney deal sounds like a huge coup, but looking deeper at the sources, it wasn't all sunshine.
Right. There was some pushback.
A lot of pushback. The launch drew fire for two big reasons. First, reports of strikingly uneven performance on new coding benchmarks. It suggests it's a brilliant analyst, but maybe not a consistently reliable programmer yet.
And the second reason was the price, right?
The price. A 40% price hike for API access. That immediately pushes smaller developers and startups to look for alternatives.
If you can't afford the ticket, you're not getting on the ride.
And that's exactly where the counterpunches are landing. Google's Gemini is right there. It actually outscored GPT 5.2 on a fresh reasoning test.
Which just goes to show how fluid these benchmarks are. There's no single champion across every single domain.
Absolutely not. And Google is pushing Gemini deeper into everything. We're seeing features like real-time speech translation, turning any headphones into live translators for nearly 20 languages. Plus stronger function calling with Gemini Flash Live and this new specialized deep research agent for autonomous investigation.
And it's not just the giants. We're seeing this intense diversification happening everywhere. Users can now choose between the big powerhouses and these smaller specialized variants, like GPT 4.5 versus Mini or Nano.
And the open source scene is just on fire.
It's surging, yeah.
Absolutely. The research points to a wave of open models pushing the boundaries. You have Olmo 3.1 with its 32 billion parameter variants, giving academics powerful trainable models.
And I saw Eladay 2.0 is pushing diffusion-style LLMs up to 100 billion parameters.
A faster inference. So open source is closing that performance gap, and fast.
The specialization part is what I find most interesting. The idea of one giant model to rule them all just feels over.
It is. It's completely over. Anthropic's Claude 4.5, for instance, got significantly better at electrical engineering because they did this targeted, hyper-specific training.
And Claude Code beat older models like Codex in a fine-tuning challenge just on coding.
And what's fascinating here is the evaluation crisis this has all sparked. Researchers are seriously questioning today's evaluation practices.
Because the real world is messy, it's not a clean benchmark test.
Exactly. These standard benchmarks, they totally overlook things like personalization or the effect of a long dialogue history.
Right, if you've been talking to it for days, it should learn your style.
It should. And more critically, studies are showing that AI code reviewers, when they're tested on real complex projects, not just some synthetic test, they routinely miss fundamental security issues.
So if the benchmarks are saturated and the big models are jacking up prices, what's the advice for developers right now?
The pragmatic advice we've seen is, well, don't rely on a single champion. Don't look at one benchmark score.
You have to run them in parallel.
You have to, especially for tough reasoning tasks. Run multiple frontier models in parallel because the results can vary wildly. It's about using the best tool for the specific job.
So that's a perfect transition. If the models are creating this crisis, let's look at the infrastructure trying to keep up, the builder wave, the tools making AI fast and local.
And the key theme here is democratizing GPU power. I mean, historically, running these massive trillion-parameter experiments was just for the biggest labs with billion-dollar budgets.
Right.
But now you have platforms like Tinker. You can think of it as a sort of high-end cloud management service that offers hands-off GPU orchestration.
So it handles all the complex setup for you.
It does. It's making those massive reinforcement learning experiments accessible to startups and researchers. It's tearing down that infrastructure wall.
And we're also seeing development move closer to the user.
Right.
Local first is getting a huge boost.
A huge boost. Because it's cheaper and faster. DevStrel 2, for example, is now on Apple Silicon via MLX. What that means for you is that the new MacBooks are powerful enough to run serious AI tasks locally.
Which is a total game changer for individual developers.
It is, and efficiency is king. Take llama.cpp. It's this incredibly popular framework that lets you run models very efficiently on everyday hardware.
And they just added smarter memory management so you can run multiple models at once on your laptop without it just grinding to a halt.
It's all about freeing up expensive resources. Luxical released ultra-fast CPU embeddings. Now, embeddings are how the AI understands and finds information.
So if you can do that on the CPU, you save the expensive GPUs for the heavy lifting.
Precisely. You reserve those precious GPUs for the actual model inference or training.
And the tools are they're streamlining workflows like crazy. Deep Code can turn dense academic papers into working code.
Which is incredible. And the Codex CLI automates the entire train, tune, evaluate loop. That's a huge time saver. We even saw the open source project get open source to let people experiment with agent personality.
So if you connect all these dots, the economic shift is profound.
It's massive.
The quality of fine-tuned open models is getting so close to the proprietary ones, but at a fraction of the cost. It feels like it's shifting the core economics of AI away from just the giants.
That's true democratization. Which brings us to the real-world impact. This isn't just about code and benchmarks. It's transforming basic human services.
Starting with that fact we opened with, healthcare.
Yeah.
That 15-second TB diagnosis is just, it's mind-blowing. I remember when a TB test took 48 hours. That kind of speed is a systemic shock, especially in resource-limited areas.
And it goes beyond diagnosis. Generative methods are now accelerating antibiotic discovery, which is a field we desperately need to advance to fight superbugs.
And it's not just biology. DeepMind is launching an automated AI-powered lab in the UK by 2026.
Right, for materials science.
Yeah, its only purpose is to rapidly discover new materials. Things like stable superconductors or advanced batteries. That's a huge leap.
Meanwhile, we're moving into this era of hyper-personalization in media that feels like science fiction.
It really does. The Washington Post is piloting your personal podcast. It uses AI to craft customized audio news just for you.
News curated and voiced based on your interests. It's wild. And with that Gemini integration we mentioned, your headphones become real-time translators.
The communication barriers are just dissolving in real time.
They really are.
This whole wave is also redefining the digital workspace. Google's experimental Disco tool. It converts your open browser tabs into customizable AI apps for research.
So instead of trying to make sense of 20 tabs, you just You point Disco at them, and it builds a functional research app for you.
It's changing how we interact with the web itself. And this is being adopted everywhere, even in high-compliance sectors. Accenture and Anthropic are bringing Claude Code to healthcare and finance.
And BBVA, the big Spanish bank, integrated ChatGPT Enterprise for 120,000 employees to boost productivity.
This is also moving up the ladder. Managers are using AI to automate routine task scheduling reporting, which ideally frees them up for more human-centric coaching.
Though there's a caution there. Experts are already warning that we need to balance this efficiency with emotional intelligence so we don't weaken that critical human connection in teams.
A really important point. And the coding shift itself is phenomenal. Developers are reporting that AI is generating up to 90% of their code in some firms.
And the practical tip there for you is that these models work much better when you show them real code snippets as examples rather than just giving them long text prompts.
It's a pattern matching game at its core.
Exactly. The more concrete the pattern, the better the output.
So we've talked about the speed, the amazing applications, but this growth is running headlong into some major risks. Which brings us to our final segment: security, biosecurity, and accountability.
And this raises a really important question. If the research says nearly half of all new AI-generated code carries security vulnerabilities, how can we possibly build the future safely on top of that?
That statistic is it's alarming. It's like building in massive technical debt before you even start.
It is. And the threats are evolving to leverage this AI ecosystem. There's new Mac malware, a variant called Amos, that's using trusted chatbots like ChatGPT with poisoned search results to spread and steal data.
So criminals are weaponizing the very tools we're all starting to trust.
But AI isn't just an offensive tool, it's also becoming a defensive one. Stanford's Artemis AI system scanned nearly 8,000 campus devices in 16 hours.
And it identified and patched vulnerabilities way faster than any human team could.
Which really highlights that dual-use power. It can be used for defense, but it also shows its potential in offense if used maliciously.
And on the biosecurity front, there's this really striking split opinion. On one hand, AI is designing these incredibly resilient proteins for material science.
But on the other, experts are sounding a sharp alarm. They're warning that AI-enabled prion design significantly heightens biosecurity risk.
And prions they are terrifying, notoriously difficult to destroy pathogens.
And the idea that generative models could rapidly design new, highly stable versions of them is a truly scary consequence that needs immediate attention.
Then there's misinformation, which is no longer a theoretical problem. The hyper-realistic videos from tools like Sora are already being weaponized.
We're seeing fake videos of Ukrainian soldiers fueling conflict narratives. Experts are urging for greater vigilance and better detection because this synthetic content is rapidly becoming indistinguishable from real news.
Which leads, inevitably, to legal accountability, and the courts are starting to catch up.
Yeah, that landmark lawsuit against OpenAI and Microsoft is a huge one to watch.
The claim alleges ChatGPT exacerbated a user's mental illness, which tragically led to a murder-suicide.
And that case spotlights the critical question of legal liability for model outputs. It's going to set crucial precedents.
And policymakers are scrambling. The U.S. has adopted a federal approach to AI regulation to try and standardize rules.
And the White House has issued specific guidance for federal agencies to make sure AI systems stay neutral and don't amplify social biases.
So after all that, what does this all mean? The tension is just undeniable, isn't it?
It is.
We have this unprecedented speed and specialization in tools, from a 15-second TB diagnosis to Disco turning browser tabs into apps. And this hyper-innovation is running headlong into massive ethical and security gaps.
Whether it's AI-enabled prion design or the question of who's legally liable for what a model says.
And this isn't just news about tech companies. This is about how you operate in the world, how you work, learn, consume media, and manage your security in the months ahead. And that leads us to a final thought for you to explore as you process all this.
The rise of global, seamless AI integration like Gemini's real-time translation or AI for identity verification, it's building crucial trust in these systems. Yet, at the same time, we are still training our foundational AI models on vast libraries of data derived exclusively from the past. We saw reports of models trained solely on, say, pre-1800s texts or pre-1950s newspapers.
Right, from a very different world.
A completely different world. So the question for you to consider is this. As AI creates these hyper-personalized, real-time services for global users, how will its deep reliance on historical and often very narrow training data influence its ability to ethically navigate our future, rapidly changing global culture?
The past is training the future.
It is, and that influence will be subtle, but I think profound.